आदरणीय पशुपति मिश्रज्यू, यहाँले एकदमै महत्त्वपूर्ण जानकारी दिनुभएको छ। हामीले धेरै कुरा जान्न पायौँ। यहाँलाई फेरि पनि धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद। अबको पालो रहेको छ मायाको चिलो प्रदान गर्ने। मायाको चिलो ग्रहण गरिदिनु हुन म USYC सुनसरीका डिस्ट्रिक्ट अफिसर काशीनाथ आदरणीय काशीनाथ पोखरेलज्यूलाई आग्रह गर्दछु र यहाँ यसमा सहयोग पुर्याइदिनु हुनलाई म काउन्सिलका मेम्बर आदरणीय सञ्जय गौतमज्यूलाई अनुरोध गर्दछु। यसै गरी मायाको चिलो ग्रहण गरिदिनु हुन म सेन्ट्रल क्याम्पस अफ टेक्नोलोजीका एसोसिएट प्रोफेसर आदरणीय पशुपति मिश्रज्यूलाई आग्रह गर्दछु र यसमा सहयोग गरिदिनु हुनका लागि म काउन्सिलकै मेम्बर आदरणीय सरोज कार्कीज्यूलाई अनुरोध गर्दछु। पहिलो सेसन यहाँ सक्यो। अब अबको हाम्रो सेसन छ प्रेजेन्टेसनको। सेन्ट्रल क्याम्पस अफ टेक्नोलोजीबाट पाल्नु हुने आदरणीय अर्जुन घिमिरेज्यूलाई यहाँ आफ्नो प्रेजेन्टेसन दिनुहुने हार्दिक
special guest, USYC District Officer Mr. Kasinath Kovel, USYC members, presenters and all participants, good afternoon. Also, I would like to thank Mr. Abhishek Khanda for giving me such a wonderful opportunity for this talk program. Okay, now regarding my seminar, it's entitled Mycotoxins and Overview. Okay, now my seminar is entitled Mycotoxins and Overview. I have divided my seminar into following contents: introduction, various mycotoxins and food crops, mycotoxins and human health, detection and screening of mycotoxins, mycotoxins contamination of food and feed in Nepal, and finally prevention and control. Now starting off with introduction. A mycotoxin is a toxic secondary metabolite produced by the organisms of the fungi kingdom, commonly known as molds. The term mycotoxin is usually reserved for the toxic chemical products produced by fungi that readily colonize crops. And one mold species may produce many different mycotoxins, and the same mycotoxin may be produced by several species. Fungal toxins, on the other hand, are almost all low molecular weight chemical compounds which are not detected by antigens and hence produce no obvious symptoms, and hence they are very difficult to be detected. Mycotoxins are produced by fungi, commonly known as mold, and these toxins can develop during production, harvesting, or storage of grains on crops and other crops. Mycotoxins are among the most potent mutagenic and carcinogenic substances known. They possess chronic health risks, prolonged exposure to plant has been linked. Now they possess chronic health risk. Prolonged exposure to diet has been linked to cancer and kidney, liver and immune system diseases. Hence, mycotoxins are the most potent mutagenic and carcinogenic substances. Because mycotoxins occur more frequently under tropical conditions and diet in many developing countries are more heavily concentrated in crops susceptible to mycotoxins. These chronic health risks are particularly prevalent in developing countries. In addition, mycotoxins can be present in livestock feed, reducing productivity in meat and dairy production. And if these toxins find their way from feed into milk or meat, they become a food safety hazard in these products too. Generally, tropical conditions such as high temperature and moisture, monsoons, unseasonal rains during harvest, and flash floods lead to the fungal proliferation and mycotoxins. As discussed earlier, poor harvesting practices, improper storage, and less than optimal conditions during transport and marketing can also contribute to fungal growth and proliferation of mycotoxins. Mycotoxins that pose human health risk include aflatoxin, deoxynivalenol, DON, fumonigens, ochratoxins, and ergot alkaloids. Some are produced before harvest, which comprises DON and ergot. Some are produced during and immediately following during the time of harvest, and this includes fumonigens and ochratoxins, and a few predominantly during storage, and that is aflatoxin. Now the next content, various mycotoxins and food crops. Asparagus ocraceae. These infest mainly in cereals, nuts, pulses, oilseeds, corns, and they produce toxins, namely ochratoxins and penicillic acid. Likewise, Asparagus flavus or Asparagus parasiticus, these infest on cereals, nuts, root crops, oilseeds, and pulses, and they give rise to aflatoxins. Penicillium species, they infest on cereals, root crops, nuts, and grains, and they produces the toxins known as ochratoxin, patogen, and cytinin. And the last one, Fusarium species, these infest on cereals and root crops, and they produces the toxins known as tritotoxins and zearalenone. Now, starting with aflatoxin, it will be discussed in briefly by the next presenter. Okay. However, I am going just to summarize it. Aflatoxin. Aflatoxin are a type of mycotoxin produced by Asparagus species of fungi, mainly Asparagus flavus and A. parasiticus. The umbrella term aflatoxin refers to 4 different types of mycotoxins produced, which are B1, B2, G1, and G2. Aflatoxin B1, as stated earlier by our sir, it is the most toxic and the potent carcinogen, which has been directly correlated to adverse health effects such as liver cancer in many different animal species. Now, it is a figure which shows the infestation of aflatoxin in peanuts and maize. Now the next mycotoxin is ochratoxin. Regarding ochratoxin, it is a type of mycotoxin that comes in 3 secondary metabolite forms, A, B, and C, of which A is the most toxic of all. All are produced by Penicillium and Asparagus species. Asparagus ocraceae is formed as contaminant of a wide range of commodities, including beverages such as beer and wine. Asparagus carbonaceae is the main species found on vine fruit, which releases its toxin during the juice making process. Now the third type of mycotoxin mainly found on food is cytinin. Cytinin is a toxin that was first isolated from Penicillium citrinum, but has been identified in over a dozen species of Penicillium and several species of Asparagus. Some of these species are used to produce human foodstuffs such as cheese. Example, Penicillium camembert, shake, miso, soy sauce. Cytinin is associated with yellow rice disease in Japan and acts as a nephrotoxin. That is, it acts on the kidney. Nephrotoxin in all animal species tested. Regarding the next mycotoxin type, it is ergot alkaloids. Ergot alkaloids are compounds produced as a toxic mixture of alkaloids in the sclerotia, that is mycelium, of species claviceps. Claviceps fungi, which is ergot fungi, claviceps, which are common pathogens of various grass species.
The ingestion of ergot sclerotia from infected cereals, commonly in the form of bread produced from contaminated flour, causes ergotism, which is also known as historically Saint Anthony's fire. Now pathogen. It is also a type of mycotoxin found widely in food commodities. Pathogen is a toxin produced by the fungi Penicillium expansum, Aspergillus penicillium, and Phycilliumyces fungal species. Penicillium expansum is especially associated with a wide range of moldy fruits and vegetables, and particularly in rotting apples and grapes. It is destroyed by fermentation process. So pathogen is not found in apple beverages which has been fermented, example cider. Although pathogen has not been shown to be carcinogenic, it has been reported to damage the immune system, adverse immune system effect in animals. Now fusarium toxin. It is also a type of mycotoxin. Fusarium toxins are produced by over 50 species of fusarium and have a history of infecting the grain of developing cereals like wheat and maize. They include a range of mycotoxins. These fusariums are responsible for the production of toxins like fuminogens, trichothecins, and zearalenone. The fuminogens affects the nervous system of horses and may cause cancer in rodents, whereas the trichothecins are almost most strongly associated with the chronic and fatal toxic effect in animals and humans. And the last one of fusarium, that is zearalenone, it is not correlated to any fatal toxic effect in animals or humans. Now it is a table which shows the effect of toxin on various food commodities. Aflatoxin is infested mainly in fruit cereals, nut species and baby food. Likewise, aflatoxin M1 is found in milk and baby food. Trichothecins is found in cereals and baby food. Zearalenone is also found in cereals and baby food. Aflatoxin A, OTA, it is found in all the food commodities except milk, and final pathogen is found in fruits and baby foods. Now next content, mycotoxins and human health. Mycotoxins are recorded in history as far back as 5,000 years ago in China. Besides ergot and mushroom poisonings, reports as early 1861 indicate that a suspected mycotoxin affecting humans was reported in Russia. And in the year 1891, there was a report of moldy rice in Japan which was found to be toxic in man. In 1967, there was an outbreak of apparent poisoning of 26 persons in 2 Taiwan rural villages. Now, in all the analysis of the outbreak, a few rice samples from affected households were assayed and was found to be infested with aflatoxins. Similarly, looking at the history, on August 15, 1951, many people ate a small amount of bread which may have been made from this contaminated flour. About 200 people became ill, as did many domestic animals like dogs, cats, poultry, fish, which fed on the same bread. A total of 25 people suffered severe delirium, and 4 people, 1 previously healthy young man and 3 old people suffered severe delirium. Likewise, a recent outbreak occurred in Ethiopia, in which 97 of 42,000 people developed gangrenous ergotism, which is caused by ergot alkaloids. Now it is a figure which shows the mycotoxin chain of events. How does it come to the human health? It is a series of chain of events, and different factors are responsible for accumulating in humans, starting from biological factors which are affected by susceptible crop, compatible toxigenic fungus. Likewise, they are also affected upon favorable conditions by environmental factors like temperature, moisture, mechanical injury, insect or damage and fungus. During the time of harvesting, which includes crop maturity, temperature, moisture, and also during the time of storage, which depends on temperature, moisture, detection, diversion. It is also fed by animals, and animals which fed upon the mycotoxin affected feed, it ultimately comes into the human channel. Now, it is the EC legislative limit of mycotoxins in food and foodstuffs. What is the limit by far? So, if it is so much toxic. Now, aflatoxin in oilseed is estimated to be 2 parts per billion. Aflatoxin B1 and 4 parts per billion of the total aflatoxin. Likewise, for almonds, hazelnuts, pistachios, for direct human consumption, it has been allocated that aflatoxin B1 is 5 ppb and for total aflatoxin the limit is 10 ppb. Aflatoxin B1 in and M1 in baby milk and food should be less than or equal to 0.1 and 0.05 parts per billion respectively. Likewise, for aflatoxin A, it has been limited that the amount of aflatoxin A should be 10 ppb or less in dried wine, fruits and soluble coffee. Likewise, 5 ppb for roasted coffee, 6 to 10 ppb for instant coffee, 2 ppb for white and grape juice, and 0.2 ppb for beer. And recently, the limit has been allocated to spice, for which the aflatoxin A has been limited as 15 to 30 ppb in spices, and it is just applicable from 1st of July 2010. Now regarding the fusarium toxins, DON, deoxynivalenol, it has been allocated that it should be 500 microgram per kg in cereal-based products and 100 microgram per kg for cereal-based products in baby food. Likewise, T2 and S2 toxins, it is allocated to be 200 microgram per kg in cereal-based products and 50 microgram per kg for cereal-based products in baby food. Zearalenone is limited to be 50 microgram per kg in cereal-based products and 20 microgram per kg for cereal-based product in baby foods. And lastly, fumologins has been limited as 500 microgram per kg in corn-based products, 200 microgram per kg in cornflakes, and finally 100 microgram per kg in baby food. Now, what are the symptoms of mycotoxicosis? That is, mycotoxis is a disease which occurs by the inhalation of mycotoxins. And so, what are the symptoms? Now, let's look at the symptoms. Drugs and antibiotics are not effective in treatment during mycotoxicosis. The symptoms can be traced to foodstuffs or feed. Likewise, testing of said foodstuffs or feed reveals fungal contamination. The symptoms are not transmissible from person to person during mycotoxicosis, and the degree of toxicity is subject to person's age, that is more often in very young and very old, and also it depends upon the sex, that is it is more often in female than males, and also depends on the nutritional status. Outbreaks of symptoms appear seasonally, that is from season to season it reoccurs. And the illness includes, the symptom includes cold flu-like symptoms, sore throats, headaches, nosebleeds, fatigue, diarrhea, dermatitis, and immune suppression, and vary from species. And in very severe cases, the ultimate consequences can be death. Now here is a quick toxin review of how these toxics affect the organ systems. Aflatoxin acts on the vascular systems. Likewise, aflatoxin, T2 toxin, and mycotoxin acts on digestive system. Mycotoxins acts on respiratory system and nervous system, as well as cutaneous system. Mycotoxin A, cytokine acts on the urinary system. Likewise, zearalenone and T2 toxin acts directly on the reproductive system. And many of these toxins to obtain reliable analytical data, an adequate sampling program, and an accurate analytical method, both are important. To minimize the errors, studies have led to many improved and innovative analytical methods for mycotoxin analysis over the years, which are as follows. New, more sensitive thin layer chromatography, high performance liquid chromatography, SPLC, and gas chromatography, and biosensors are emerging and have gained application for mycotoxin analysis. After a number of years of research, immunoassays have gained a wide acceptance as analytical tools for mycotoxin in the last decades. Example, ELISA technique. Rather than analysis of toxins, PCR method, that is polymerase chain reaction. These methods based on the primers of key enzymes involved in the biosynthesis of mycotoxins have been introduced for the determination of pathogenic fungi present in foods. And also the detailed protocols of mycotoxin analysis can be seen or found in many books and also can be found in the latest edition of AOAC. Now next content, mycotoxin contamination of food and feeds in context to Nepal. Monitoring of mycotoxins in food commodities was first initiated in the Nepal in the year 1978 as a consequence of FAO and UNEP regional monitoring of food contaminants project involving 4 countries in which Nepal and India were placed in one group and Pakistan and Sri Lanka were placed in the next group. Result indicated that corn and peanut are the 2 commodities which are most prone to aflatoxin contamination. Ecologically, the Tarai southern plain area is more susceptible to aflatoxin hazard compared to hills and mountainous area, which can be due to the favorable temperature as well as favorable humidity. The result shows that there is a need of precautionary post-harvest measures to minimize the possible aflatoxin hazards. In short, aflatoxin can become a big menace in Tarai area where temperature is relatively high and the humidity is also favorable for the growth of asparagus flowers. Out of total 582 samples of corn and peanut products and wheat flour and parboiled rice, 109, that is 18.7%, were found to be contaminated with aflatoxin. Furthermore, it was found that 6% of the total samples were exceeded the permissible limit of aflatoxin B1. The aflatoxin problem as revealed by this study is of no serious magnitude. However, it requires careful monitoring of mycotoxin for controlling mold infection in stored products. That is, regulation is very much necessary. Similarly, regarding the storage, no aflatoxin was detected in the sample stored at Thangru. Thangru means an outdoor open storage system around a pole and 4 support base. The sample stored at Bukhari, that is bamboo beans, contained 1.5 parts per billion of aflatoxin B. However, the aflatoxin content in bamboo, that is clay jar, and metal bean was found to be 40 and 125 ppb aflatoxin B1 respectively. The result clearly indicates that Thangru seems to be appropriate storage system for corn, as evident by absence of asparagus flowers and aflatoxin production. Furthermore, the Bukhari type of storage can be improved for preventing mold infection and related toxin production. It needs further elaboration in different agroclimatic conditions. Now, the last content is prevention and control. How to prevent and finally how to decontaminate the mycotoxins. Now regarding prevention, toxin producing fungi may invade at pre-harvesting period, harvest time and during post-harvest handling and in storage. As stated earlier, this toxinogenic fungi can be divided into the 3 groups: field fungi, storage fungi, and the last one is advanced deterioration fungi. The first category, that is the field fungi, includes species of plant pathogenic fungi, mainly of the genus Fusarium, which includes Fusarium moniliforme, F. roseus, F. trinicum, and F. nivelle. The storage fungi are principally the general Aspergillus and Penicillium species, which is Aspergillus flavus and mainly Aspergillus parasiticus. And the last one, regarding the advanced deterioration fungi, normally they do not infest intact grains, but easily attack the damaged grains and require high moisture content. The examples include Aspergillus clavatus, Aspergillus fumigatus, Pymodium, Scopulariopsis, Rhizopus, Mucor, and FCDR. In general, prevention of the contamination of fungi and their mycotoxin in agricultural commodities can be divided into these following 3 levels. So now regarding prevention. Prevention can be done by the 3 methods: primary prevention, secondary prevention, and tertiary prevention. Now regarding primary prevention, and it is the first step in the prevention. The step of prevention should be initially carried out before the fungal infestation and mycotoxin contamination. This level of prevention is the most important and effective plan for reducing fungal growth and mycotoxin production. And the primary prevention includes development of fungal resistant varieties of the growing plants. Next, control field infection by fungi or of planting crops. Making schedule for suitable pre-harvest, harvest and post-harvest. Lowering the moisture content of the plant cells after post-harvesting and during storage. Store commodities at low temperature whenever possible, so that we should not provide a favorable condition for their growth. Using fungicides and preservations technique against fungal growth. And lastly, by controlling insect infestation in stored bulk grains with the improved insecticides. The second is the secondary prevention. If we cannot prevent it primarily, then we need to go for secondary prevention. If the invasion of some fungi becomes in commodities at early phase, this level of prevention will then be required. The existing toxicogenic fungi should be eliminated, or its growth should be stopped to further stop from deterioration and mycotoxin contamination. And the secondary prevention includes stop growth of infested fungi by redrying the products, removal of contaminated seeds, inactivation or detoxification of mycotoxins contaminated, and protect stored products from any conditions which favor continued fungal growth. Now the last and the final stage of prevention. It is the last step of prevention. It is the adverse condition, and in that case we will go for tertiary prevention. Once the products are heavily infested by toxic fungi, the primary and secondary preventions will not be then feasible. Any action will not be as effective as the practices mentioned above, since it will be quite late to completely stop toxic fungi and reduce their toxic formation. So in that case, only a few practices are recommended, and these include complete destruction of the contaminated products and detoxification or destruction of mycotoxins to the minimal level. Now after prevention, if we need to decontaminate mycotoxins, there is a subtopic regarding decontamination of mycotoxins, and it includes the contaminated mycotoxins in food and food should be removed, inactivated or detoxified by physical, chemical and biological means depending upon the condition. And here are the methods which is useful for the decontamination of mycotoxins. The first one is the physical methods. Physically, fungi contaminated seeds can be removed by hand picking or photoelectric detecting machines. The method would consume time, and it is labor expensive, and also it is time consuming. The second method is by the use of organic solvents such as chloroform, acetone, hexane and ethanol, which have been used to extract aflatoxins for agricultural products, and also mainly done in vegetable oil refining process. Heating and cooking under pressure can also destroy nearly about 70% of aflatoxin in rice. But if we cook under atmospheric pressure, only 50% of aflatoxin is destroyed. Drying and oil roasting can also reduce about 50 to 70% of aflatoxin B1. Ionizing radiation such as gamma radiation can also stop growth of food spoilage organisms, including bacteria, mold as well as yeast. And finally, it has been reported that gamma radiation 5 to 10 million rad causes reduction of aflatoxin. The irradiation, however, cannot completely destroy the toxin and its mutagenicity. The chemical treatments has also been used as the most effective means for the removal of mycotoxin from the contaminated commodities. But the method should be sure that the detoxification system is capable of converting the toxin to a non-toxic derivative without changing the deleteriously in the raw product. And the chemicals which can be used include acetic acid, ammonia gas or ammonium salts in the concentration of 3 to 5%, calcium hydroxides, formaldehyde, hydrogen peroxide, methylamine, ozone gas, phosphoric acid, etc. Thank you.
Last minute to time, sir. Any questions?
Thank you for your presentation. मैले चाहिँ समरीमा बुझ्न खोजेको जस्तो एउटा लेमन टर्ममा भनौँ न, यो अलिक टेक्निकल टर्महरूको धेरै थियो होइन। लेमन टर्ममा घरेलु तरिकाले कसरी छ मतलब मैले घरमा चाहिँ स्टोर गरेको ग्रेनहरू सिरियलहरूमा चाहिँ कन्टामिनेसन भएको छ कि छैन अथवा त्यसले प्रोग्रामले टक्सिक प्रोडक्सन गर्छ कि गर्दैन भन्ने कुरा मैले कसरी आइडेन्टिफाई गर्न सक्छु भन्नुको मतलब 100% त हुँदैन, तर मोरलेस यो चाहिँ अलि हानिकारक छ भनेर मैले कसरी गर्न सक्छु र उसको प्रिभेन्सनको उपाय जस्तो नेपाली कन्टेक्स्टमा हाम्रो घरेलु तरिकाले कसरी प्रिभेन्ट गर्न सकिन्छ भन्ने कुरा समराइज गरेर बुझाइदिनु।
थ्याङ्क यू फर क्वेसन। कुरा चाहिँ के भन्दाखेरि अब मैले पनि स्लाइडमा पनि दिइसकेँ, यो चाहिँ केमिकल कुनै पनि मेथडहरूबाट चाहिँ यो पत्ता लाग्न गाह्रो छ बिकज इट इज भेरी लो मोलिकुलर वेट कम्पाउन्ड। तर अब हामीले घरमा हेर्नु पर्दाखेरि हामीले हेर्ने भनेको भिजिबल वेहरू नै हो। हामी इन्भेस्टिगेसनहरू भएको जति पनि ग्रेनहरू छ त्यसलाई चाहिँ हामीले एक्सक्लुड गरिदिने
र मेनली इन पिनट एन्ड मेज, पिनट र मेजमा चाहिँ हामीले त्यस्तो इन्फेस्टेसनहरू पायौँ भयो, हामीलाई शङ्का लाग्यो भने हामीले त्यो नखाने है हामीले। अनि हामीले घरमा हेर्दाखेरि पनि त्यो अलिकति बिग्रेको जस्तो मैले एउटा पिक्चर पनि दिएको थिएँ इन्फ्राटोक्सिनमा मकैमा, त्यस्तो खालको भेट्यो ओऱ्यो भने त्यो सस्पेक्सनमा राखेर त्यसलाई एक्सक्लुड गर्यो। अनि रह्यो कुरा प्रिभेन्सनको कुरा, त्यसलाई अथवा कसरी बचाएर राख्ने भन्ने कुरा। बचाएर राख्नको लागि हामीले ड्राइङ गर्दाखेरि सबैभन्दा राम्रो ड्राइङ गर्नुपर्छ सेफ लेभलसम्म। वाटर एक्टिभिटी 0.7 भन्दा कम भयो भने माइक्रोटोक्सिन्सहरू ग्रोथ हुँदैन, त्यही भएर त्यसलाई हामीले सन ड्राइङ गर्ने अथवा एप्रोप्रिएट ड्राइङ गरेर हामीले चाहिँ एकदमै एप्रोप्रिएट स्टोरेज गरेर राख्ने र टेम्परेचर भनेको फेभरेबल कन्डिसन फर माइक्रोटोक्सिन ग्रोथ मेनली एफ्लाटोक्सिनको लागि 25 देखि 30 डिग्री हो। यो टेम्परेचरमा चाहिँ एकदमै यसको ग्रोथ हुन्छ र हाई ह्युमिडिटीमा चाहिँ त्यो ग्रोथ चाहिँ एकदमै एक्सिड भएर जान्छ। यो सबै फ्याक्टरहरूबाट चाहिँ हामीले कन्ट्रोल गर्दै राख्नुपर्छ।
Thank you for your question. Now next question from anyone else?
Thank you, Officer. जस्तो निकै नयाँ टपिक थियो होइन, मलाई त एकछिनमा रमाउन पऱ्यो के भनेको के भनेको अलिकति अलिकति क्लियर भएको जुन यो तपाईँलाई ढुसी लागेको कुरा भएको कुराहरूमा जस्तो हाम्रो गाउँघरमा चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने कुनै पनि खाद्य पदार्थमा ढुसी लाग्यो भने हामी घाममा सुकाएर फेरि त्यसलाई खाने गर्छौँ लागिसकेपछि होइन। जस्तो अचारहरूमा भयो भने पिनट्सको कुराहरू पनि ढुसी लागेको देखि त्यसलाई लगेर हामी घाममा सुकाउँछौँ भने केही खान्छौँ, त्यो चाहिँ कतिको हानिकारक हुन्छ। चाहिँ पछिबाट त्यो ढुसी मर्ने वा हट्ने त्यस्तो केही हुन्छ कि त्यसले त्यति नै असर गर्छ जुन कोही ढुसी लागेको अवस्थामा खाने गर्छौँ।
अब ढुसी लागेको कुरा आयो होइन, ढुसी लागेको कुरा पक्कै पनि त्यो हामीले खानु ठिक हुँदैन, त्यसलाई हामीले एक्सक्लुड गर्नुपर्छ किनभने त्यो त अब इन्फेस्टेसन भइसक्यो, मोल्डहरू लागिसक्यो, मोल्ड ग्रो भइसक्यो, त्यसलाई हामीले एक्सक्लुड गर्नुपर्छ र मैले भन्नुपर्दा त्यो हानिकारक हुन्छ। त्यसको टक्सिनको लेभल त अब कमोडिटी अनुसार र कुन स्टेजमा छ कुन टक्सिन लाग्यो त्यो त अब टेस्टै गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ, तर मेरो सल्लाह मानिन्छ त्यो ढुसी लागेको कुरालाई सुकाएर फेरि नखानुहोस्, त्यसलाई एक्सक्लुड गर्नुहोस्।
धन्यवाद तपाईँले प्रश्न सोधिनु भएकोमा। हामीलाई पनि सहयोग भयो, हामीलाई पनि क्वेसन आइरहेको थियो मनमा, तपाईँले सोधिदिनु भयो, खुसी लाग्यो। आशा छ तपाईँले आफ्नो आन्सर पाउनुभयो होला। अब अर्को प्रश्न सोध्न चाहनुहुन्छ कसैले भने हामी चाहनुहुन्छ?
अर्जुन सरलाई सानो जिज्ञासा, हामीले सिरियल्स र सिरियल्सहरूमा चाहिँ म्याक्सिमम् माइक्रोटोक्सिन प्रोडक्सन हुन्छ भन्ने पढाएको थियो, बुझाएको छ अहिले होइन। र यसमा पनि कस्तो भने स्पेसिफिक सिरियल्स कुन सिरियल्स चाहिँ अब कार्बोहाइड्रेट बेस्ड हो कि प्रोटिन बेस्ड हो कि फ्याट बेस्ड सिरियल्समा हुन्छ स्पेसिफिसिटी भनेर चाहिँ थाहा हुनु पाएन।
मेनली हामीले ध्यान दिनुपर्ने कमोडिटिजहरू भनेको सिरियल्समा पिनट्स, मेज अनि व्हिट, यो तीनटा कमोडिटिजहरूलाई चाहिँ हामीले ध्यान दिनुपर्छ। दे आर मोर प्रोन टु एफ्लाटोक्सिन, तीनटा कमोडिटिजहरू।
केमिकल्सहरू हामी युज गर्छौँ भने यो केमिकल्सहरू छैन होइन, यो केमिकल्सहरू हामी कसरी युज गर्छौँ कि भन्दा यतिकै छर्किने हो कि अब केमिकल्स आफै पनि एउटा टक्सिक सब्सटेन्स हो, तपाईँ मिथाइल पनि भन्नुभयो होइन, कसरी युज चाहिँ कसरी गर्छौँ भन्नु खोजेँ कि भन्नु।
यो भनेको हामीले इन्सेक्टिसाइड्सहरू सुन्नुभएको छ, इन्सेक्टिसाइड्स फङ्गिसाइड्सहरू त्यसै गरिकन
भन्दा फिल्डमा स्प्रे गरिदियो कि ल्याएर हामीले चाहिँ स्टोर गरिसक्यो, स्प्रे गरिदियो कि
स्टोर गर्दा पनि गर्न सकिन्छ। फिल्डमा गर्दा स्टोर गर्दाखेरि गर्नु तपाईँले जुन स्टोर गर्दा
सर अघि थाङ्गो र भकालीको भन्नु थियो सर, यो थाङ्गोमा चाहिँ के गर्दाखेरि के कारणले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ माइकोटक्सिन आएन, अनि यो भकालीमा चाहिँ के कारणले गर्दाखेरि आयो र
एउटा स्टडीले देखाएको हो होइन, मैले निकालेको रिजल्टहरू त्यसको मलाई थाहा छैन।
र वाट इज द बेस्ट वे टु स्टोर ट्रेडिसनली?
ट्रेडिसनली द बेस्ट वे इज थाङ्गो है, रिजल्टबाटै आइसकेको छ। त्यसको भित्री कारण मलाई थाहा छैन, मैले त्यहाँ स्टडी गरेको छैन।
तपाईँहरूको क्वेसन सक्यो होला। अब म धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु आदरणीय अर्जुन सरजीलाई। उहाँले